Teheran has been terrific in his first two starts of 2015. And tonight he faces off against a homer-heavy nest of Toronto Blue Jays. It's an interleague battle north of the border. It's the Braves, it's the Blue Jays, and it's next. Toronto is one of North America's great cities, and an absolutely beautiful day north of the border as we welcome you to the Rogers Center for our first interleague matchup of the season. It's the Braves and the Blue Jays, and we're glad you're with us here in beautiful Toronto, Ontario. Hi again, Chip and Joe back with you from Toronto. Let's see if the Braves can get back in the win column and improve on their interleague record of last year. The Braves were 7-13 against the American League last season. Let's see if Julio Teheran can get things off to a much better start tonight.
Well, Julio's been pitching great baseball. His first two starts, he's 2-0. He's only given up one earned run in each of those two starts. The most recent one was against the New York Mets at home. And as he did against Miami, he featured good fastball, really good life on his fastball. His two-seamer's been very effective, go with his changeup, and really had the Mets dancing around all of his pitches all night long as he picked up the win. There are his numbers for the two starts. And since his last start against Toronto in June of 2012, he's gone 30-21 with a 2.97 ERA. That ERA over that period is the 8th best in the major leagues.
But the Braves have a few things to counter with here in Toronto, Ontario. First of all, the metric system, that's always a challenge. Very colorful money, that's interesting. But artificial turf, and that's been an issue so far for the Jays in the first week.
This is an odd turf, and I say odd only in that it's just so different. It is the type of turf that has the ground-up rubber in the blades of the grass, if you will. But I stuck my finger in this turf today, and it came all the way up to my middle knuckle on my index finger. That's deep. It's also playing extremely slow. Ground balls have no chance after they get through the infield of getting to the warning track. They will die in the outfield. But more importantly, on the infield, the middle infielders are going to have to charge the ball and get to it quickly if they've got a double play chance. Otherwise, because it takes so long to get started, the guy that's turning that double play, second baseman or shortstop, they're going to get clobbered if you don't get the ball to him quickly.
Let's just say it's going to be an interesting night for Braves baseball north of the border, and Matt Coney says it's time to play ball, and that's good enough for me. Julio Teheran, Drew Hutchinson, the starting pitchers. It's the Braves and Jays Game 1 from the Rogers Center right after this.
AT&T UVerse, Delta Airlines, and your local Ford dealer.
What a beautiful day in Toronto today. We were blessed with absolutely spectacular weather. And the Braves in their road blues with the roof closed at Rogers Center start an interleague matchup with the homestanding Blue Jays tonight. Here's how the Braves line them up. It's presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Remember, the designated hitter rule is in effect, and the Braves DHs last year had an awful time. Chris Johnson DHs for the first time in his big league career tonight, and he'll hit behind Freddie Freeman and ahead of A.J. Brzezinski against right-hander Drew Hutchinson.
Drew Hutchinson's a 24-year-old fireballer. His last 5 home starts, he's 4-0, and in his career, he is 9-5 in this ballpark with an outstanding ERA. He has a hard sinker, slider, and changeup. He was a 15th round draft pick back in 09 out of Lakeland, Florida. 6'3", 195, and he was their opening day starter. 1-0 on the year, but got a real break in Baltimore. No decision his last start. 4 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 7 runs. He got knocked around pretty hard.
Let's hope the Braves continue that trend tonight with Eric Young leading off. And we are underway. Joe West has the plate.
Woohoo!
1 ball, no strikes for Eric Young. And quickly, 2 balls, no strikes. EY at 179, a couple of RBIs. And he made him throw a strike, and Hutchison did. Seventh leadoff assignment this year for Eric Young. And that just missed outside, ball 3.
Braves' top 2 guys in the order, whoever they may be lately, have had a hard time getting on base. So Eric's trying to figure out a way to draw a walk or get a good pitch to hit. Got a good one there and fouled it off. But the on-base percentage during these last 4 ball games has been really lacking. The Braves have only scored 10 runs total in those 4 games, and they've only won 1 of them. So I need to get those guys at the top of the order on base again.
Yeah, last 2 games, the Braves' runs have come via 4 solo homers. And Young, a feeble swing, is down swinging, and that's how our ball game begins. We'll see how the Toronto defense handles their home turf. Their defensive lineup presented by CPI Security. Boy, what a terrific athletic outfield they feature in left and center. And a new shortstop, Joe, with Jose Reyes out with a cracked rib.
Ryan Goins can pick it at shortstop. He may be a better second baseman than shortstop, but they need him in there for the defense right now.
Callaspo takes a strike. Alberto at 364 on the year. Bouncing ball. Look at the rooster tail of rubber as the ball hits out to second base. And Travis makes the play, and Callaspo is out number 2.
Travis is a good story, too. We'll talk about him a lot over the weekend. The things he's doing for their club offensively that may have been a little bit of a surprise. He's leading their team in all categories and came over from Detroit in the trade that sent Anthony Goes to the Tigers.
Yeah, Detroit had Ian Kinsler. There was no place for this kid to play, and they got an outstanding outfielder in return. A trade that's helped both clubs. As Nick Markakis, very familiar with this ballpark, takes a pitch low. Markakis, 77 career games in Toronto and a .292 lifetime average in this park.
It's a great hitter's park. It's not very big. Home runs abound here. Ball will jump. Of course, with the turf, even with this new slower turf, ball gets through the infield pretty quickly normally.
You can tell how new the turf is. Every bouncing ball looks like a little volcano of stuff pops out of the grass. 2-1 pitch. Low and in.
Hutchinson's got a good arm. We've seen already. He's 92 to 94, but he's got a real power sink two-seamer when he wants it. Good changeup.
And he missed with that pitch. A 2-out walk, and Markakis aboard in front of Freddie Freeman. Four walks for Hutchinson now in 11 innings this year. Let's see if Atlanta can cash it in with Freddie Freeman coming up. One ball, no strikes.
Little mini shift on for him with the third baseman Donaldson over toward the shortstop hole, and now they shift even more with their middle infielders.
Markakis a very short lead at first, and is back standing up. Braves trying to snap a modest 2-game losing streak. They start play a half game behind the Mets in the East. The pitch is popped up left side. Long run for Donaldson, and he'll have no play, and Freeman a 2-1 count.
Chip, while the Braves struggled against the American League counterparts in interleague play last year and didn't do so well in DHing on our T-Mobile Game Changer, the two guys hitting 4th and 5th tonight have had good luck against Toronto. Freddie in 10 games, .385 average, and a real good on-base percentage. Likewise, Chris Johnson. Hopefully they can carry that into this series.
And they're stacked back-to-back on the lineup card today as Hutchinson missed again. He's falling behind a lot of Braves hitters to start tonight's game, and he's about to throw his 19th pitch. Three balls and a strike.
Oh man,
how about that pitch?
Great 3-1 change. That was just beautiful.
So Markakis will run with a full count. There he goes, and Freeman fouled it back.
Freddie's average is very deceptive in that he's hitting the ball hard. I know he struck out 9 times, but he hit so many balls to the wall in Atlanta and didn't have anything to show for it. It's kind of sad.
And he draws a walk. Back-to-back passes, and this is setting up nicely. As we mentioned, and Joe showed you a moment ago, Chris Johnson has hit Toronto well. Let's see if he can turn his first DH assignment into a successful one here in the first.
The other side of it, Chip, is that when the Braves score first, they tend to really have a good night. Kind of helps them relax, helps their pitchers. What's been happening, especially at the end of that Miami series, was falling behind big and early, and it was hard for them to come back.
Chris with a .400 mark to start the year, and didn't get a slider. Strike one. Good movement on that pitch. Now it's 0-2. Last 4 games, Braves are hitting .150 with runners in scoring position, as Johnson has their first crack at Toronto tonight. Little flare down the right field line. It is a foul ball. He missed a base hit by inches.
In this ballpark, it doesn't throw up chalk, it throws up rubber. Watch when this ball hits. See that black rubber kick up. That is the base for this. There's no padding under the turf. That rubber that is worked down into the blades of the turf are what provide the cushion, and it is very soft.
And that ball just died after it hit foul. And Johnson swings and misses. And Hutchison works around a pair of 2-out walks. 2 strikeouts as well, and they scoreless top of the first. Their batting order presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. This is a young athletic group, and Devin Travis off to a potential Rookie of the Year start at second base. You always have to worry about the Thunder, as Joe mentioned. Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion can homer with anybody. Braves will try to keep them in the ballpark, but those two and Russell Martin, Joe, are really struggling so far offensively at the start of the year.
Yeah, they've got to get their veterans going, and then they will be just fine. Here's Julio Teheran making his 3rd start. His ERA since 2013 in some pretty good company. He is 5th on that list at 2.99. He's given up 2 earned runs in 12 innings pitched so far on the year. He's 2-0 with a 1.50 ERA. Only 1 start in his career against Toronto. That was way back in 2012, and only went 4 1/3 innings.
And ball 1 to Devin Travis, the Toronto leadoff man, who leads their club in RBIs. Don't see that too often. He's got 10 of them in the early going. And pops one out of play, even count.
4 keys to pitching success for Julio Teheran tonight. Keep it in the ballpark. Every one of their homers have been hit in a game in which they've won. They've hit 0 homers in games they've lost. Road team. The Braves were 3-0 down in Miami. Everybody played well. He pitched well. Keep it going.
Center field deep. Maben going back. Leadoff homer.
Those 4 keys once again.
Devin Travis leads All-American rookies in average hits and RBIs, and he's one of 6 rookies on this Toronto club. He just hit a leadoff homer to put Toronto in front.
And he's been hitting 8th or 9th. But with the injury to Reyes, they moved him up to the top because he's been swinging the bat so well.
Wow.
Never played above AA until this year out of Florida State.
There's one of the Toronto veterans, Josh Donaldson. Came over from the A's, and outside ball 1.
Fastball right there. He didn't miss it.
Check swing strike call, and Donaldson an even count. Donaldson's from Braves country. He's out of Alabama and Auburn. 29 homers last year. He'll fit right in with this Blue Jay bunch. And that's fouled away, strike 2.
Yeah, I thought he was a great pickup, getting him away from Oakland.
29 homers, 98 RBIs last year. He had 255, but also had an 0 for 33 stretch at the plate last season, believe it or not. And a slider. Joe West will ring him up. A.J. Pierzynski's appealing at first with the call made at the plate. And Donaldson is out number 1.
Yeah, he went and Joe didn't need any help. He had already rung him up.
Well, here's one of the game's great sluggers, Jose Bautista. A 35 homer year last year. He knocked in 103 runs. And in this regard, Joe, he's a true throwback player. He had more walks than strikeouts last season with 35 homers.
About 5 years ago, he was there for the taking for anybody. We saw him in Pittsburgh. He was platooning with the Pirates at best. Made some adjustments in his stance and his swing. Came to Toronto almost like a extra man, you know, like a utility guy that made the club. They put him in the outfield, and he has been a terror ever since. Good change.
Last year, Toronto won 83 games. It was their first winning year since 2010. They were second in the American League with 177 homers. High hopper. Freeman's got it. Perfect feed as Teheran got to the bag. And there's out number 2. Here's a look at the Braves defensive lineup presented by CPI Security. Let's start in the Atlanta outfield. Young, Maben, and Markakis left to right. Freeman, Jace Peterson, Simmons, Callaspo around the horn, and A.J. Pierzynski, a longtime American League veteran, gets the start with Julio Teheran now. Leadoff homer makes it 1-0. Here's Edwin Encarnacion. He's hitting only 184 and has no hits in his last 17 at bats. Up and away with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. 2 balls, no strikes. Mile-high pop-up. Who wants this? Freddie Freeman says he's got it, and he does. Whew. That almost hit the rafters in the Rogers Center. Devin Travis with a leadoff home run. He's replaced Jose Reyes quite nicely in the leadoff spot. It's 1-0 Toronto after an inning. 18 games. Become an A-list member today and get exclusive benefits customized to meet your unique needs. You'll also get an opportunity to get your seats in 2015 for SunTrust Park. A-list prices increase next Friday, so visit Braves.com/A-list or call 404-577-9100 to join the A-list today. 1-0 Toronto on a Devin Travis leadoff homer. A.J. Pierzynski, Andrelton Simmons, Jace Peterson coming up in the second. And a rope to right. Bautista's there, however. Sharply hit. 1 out.
Last inning, I was looking back to see who A.J. caught a couple of days ago. He's already caught Shelby Miller. He caught Cahill the other day. Tonight he's catching Julio. And even though there was a day off yesterday, you'd think, well, Bethancourt, odds on he's going to catch tonight, and not so. And I think it's a good move because of A.J.'s experience in the American League and knowing this park and knowing their players a little better.
Ground ball right side and through for Andrelton Simmons. Look at that ball. That ball was hard hit, and Bautista had to charge in 4 steps. Otherwise, it would have stopped in the outfield.
Barely got through. Two-seamer, didn't sink much, just out of the reach of Travis.
Kelly Johnson told us before the ball game, this is like playing at Wrigley Field on artificial turf, if you can imagine such a thing. So there's the first Braves hit. Here's Jace Peterson. Jace at 208. And a strike.
It's so soft and comfortable and spongy. I'll be interested to hear how the players like running on it.
Fouled away, 0-2. That was the knock on the old turf here with the concrete underneath. This was not a pleasant place to play 4, 5, 6 games in a row. Back pain, knee pain. But this surface, almost a trampoline. No balls, 2 strikes. Did he go? Nope. 1-2.
Well, I hate to be that guy that says, oh yeah, we think that's bad. Well, you should have played over at Exhibition Stadium here when the Blue Jays first came into existence. Talk about concrete and talk about seams where the zippers pulled apart. So rather than fix it, they just tacked nails into the split so that it didn't pop up. That was fun.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And he got the inside corner. Joe West rings up Jace Peterson. Hutchison has his 3rd strikeout.
PNC pitching performance here on Fox Tracks. Came back. Two-seamer. Good job there by Russell Martin. Looked like the right call.
Yeah, you had to deal with the wind, the snow, the hard turf, the tacks, right?
Yep. Zippers that had pulled apart. That was fun to dive on.
Not to mention some Toronto Blue Jays pitchers that could throw awfully hard, huh?
And it had a crown for their football field.
Here's Cameron Maybin. As you see, oftentimes in AL games, you have 2 speedy guys hitting 1st and 8th like a double leadoff man. Let's see if that works out for Maybin with Simmons aboard. 2 outs here in the Braves' second. This truly is a remarkable facility.
It's a great ballpark.
Now we're talking about this place. This thing's 30 years old, isn't it?
Close to it, yeah. And still is a marvel, but when it first opened with the retractable roof, it was a sight to behold.
1-1 pitch. And foul back. They're hoping, we're talking with Buck Martinez, their fine broadcaster, about this. They're hoping to be able to install artificial or natural grass here in time for the 2018 season.
And they're doing some studies about how they would go about it, because they'd have to remove the concrete that is the subsurface for this playing field in order to bring in dirt.
1 ball, 2 strikes. High hop towards short hop, and that's off the glove of Goins, who's a terrific fielder. And Maben is aboard with an error at short. That's a rarity.
It's a tough error. Kind of a do or die play. I wonder if when you're going to play like that where you're charging, you got your head real close to the ground, if the rubber flies up and hits you in the face.
Like the diamond dry at the plate?
Yeah.
It's only Goins' second error in the big leagues. And it turns the lineup card to Eric Young, who worked a deep count but then struck out with a late swing and a miss. Strike 1. This guy, first time through the order, Joe, is pounding the inner half of the strike zone.
And he's getting good movement on his pitches too. That when he's falling behind, it's largely because the ball's moving so much off the corners. His first start against the Yankees, opening day, 6 innings, 3 hits, only 1 run allowed. He's always had a high strikeout per 9 innings mark. And as you've seen, a good arm.
Line to right field, a base hit. Here comes Simmons around third. He's going to score. Batista misses the cutoff man. And Atlanta's got runners at first and third as Eric Young on an 0-2 count singles to right and ties this game.
We saw Eric at home, left-handed, really turning on the ball a lot, hooking balls into the right field corner and even into right center. That was a breaking ball. They wanted it down and in like on his back foot, and they didn't get it there, and he just dropped the barrel on it. Good swing.
So the Braves cash in the error at short to get an extra out, and Young ties it with his third RBI. And here's Callaspo, first and third for the Braves in the second. And a knee-high strike. It's 0-1. Boy, those 2 strike hits are huge.
2 strikes, 2 outs.
Now Callaspo, an identical count.
Russell Martin's thrown out 5 of 14 base stealers so far on the year.
Maben at third, 0-2 pitch. Little dribbler. Martin's going to make the play in fair territory, and that takes care of Callaspo. But Eric Young Jr. with a 2-strike, 2-out hit to right ties the game at 1. We go to the home second.
who you see right there. I talked to him earlier about how the Braves prepared to play on this new slow turf here at Rogers Center. He said they got some early hitting in, and of course used BP to prepare to see how the ball was going to play. This is what he said they were looking for.
No, just kind of seeing how the ball moves on it, whether it's reaching third base all the way, whether it's curving left or right, and so you have a better idea when you step into the batter's box what the ball's going to do after you put it on the ground.
And defensively, obviously, they're ready to anticipate the ball slowing up and know they have to charge hard and maybe take different angles to get to it, guys.
Thanks, Christina. Glad you're with us here in Toronto. As Deanna Navarro, the Jays DH.
And she makes a good point about angles. You can afford to take a sharper angle in the outfield thinking the ball's going to be slower. You don't have to give as much ground.
And Tehran back level on the scoreboard, has a 0-2 count on Navarro. Major League Baseball has been concerned, though, about this turf, the irregular bounces, the slow rolls. They're investigating what they can do to help the situation.
Well, just as I suggested a minute ago, wondering if the stuff flies up in your face, I'm told that when Tampa Bay was here just a couple of days ago, Edward Cabrera had that happen to him where it flew up in his face and he had to have him come out and wash his eyes out. Had something in there that couldn't get out.
1 ball, 2 strikes for Navarro. And Tehran got him with a good change. His second strikeout. He's off to a good start here in the home second. Well, the Toronto Argonauts also share this facility, as you see the strike 3 pitch.
Perfect spot.
And the Canadian Football League teams use a different playing surface than this turf. The field has to be reconfigured, obviously. They have to move the stands and all. There's Russell Martin bats. And one of the concerns or problems is, say, the turf is so new, it hasn't been rolled up enough so that rubberized stuff will be compacted down to make the turf less spongy and springy. And the Jays, as Martin drives that one deep center field, Maybin's going to turn and wave goodbye to that one. Yikes. 2 solo homers to center field off Julio Tehran in the first 2 innings. And that's only Martin's second hit of the year, but his first as a Jay. His first homer, that is, and it's 2-1 Jays.
Well, he hadn't been doing anything. They're giving him the silent treatment, so he's going to pat himself on the back. He was 0 for his last 22 and 1 for 24 in the season. You wouldn't know it by that swing. Great pickup this winter as a free agent after playing with Pittsburgh and doing so much for them.
And Dalton Pompey was just hit by a pitch.
Another fastball, belt tie down the middle.
Not going to get away with those in this park. And now Julio Tehran and Freddie Gonzalez are out at the plate. Checking with Joe West to see if that ball hit Dalton Pompey or if it hit the dirt.
Well, apparently it did hit him, but they're saying he was out of the box. We've been arguing about this for years about guys who from the left side step out of the box across the line, and he certainly did here, and the ball hit him in the foot. And that's what A.J. Przinsky's arguing. But one of the umpires told us last year that if your foot is in contact with any part of that line, then it's okay. Even if it's just the back of your heel touching the line, you're okay.
As Kevin Pillar bats. Well, if you have a size 14 shoe, that could be a big advantage. How close was it?
Well, if looks like his heel was on the inside part of the line.
So Pompey leads from first. And Tehran just picked him off. He's got a great pickoff move, and he showed it off.
He was going too. Julio last year with 14 pickoffs, or has 14 pickoffs. Only Madison Bumgarner has more with 15. And now they're tied. Now what's the problem?
I think Toronto is considering challenging that call, but Joe West waves Pompey back to the bench. It's John Gibbons, the Toronto skipper. Pilar, a 1-0 count. So a strikeout, a homer, a hit batsman, a pickoff. Base is empty. And a check swing. Strike one.
Here are those pickoffs. 15 now, the most among right-handed pitchers. Tied with Bumgarner overall.
Pilar, one of 6 rookies on this Toronto club. He's 20 years old. And he had a great catch against Tampa Bay the other day. One of the best you'll see.
Outstanding numbers in the minor leagues when he was coming up. 1,221 at bats in the minor leagues. He hit .322.
Hitting .282 this year with Toronto.
So if you can put some faith in the fact that the guy hit at every level, was successful, you got to figure he's got a chance here.
A math major at Cal State. Tantalizing pitch, but he laid off, and Julio's got a full count. Line and caught. Kai Aspo with a diving grab to his right, robs Pilar. Toronto, though, takes the lead on a Russell Martin homer. Great grab at the hot corner by Alberto Callaspo. It's 2-1 Toronto. A moment ago as well. He made an outstanding catch here on Jackie Robinson Day. Look at this leathered larceny in left field.
Perfect timing. Stuck his foot in that padding, helped catapult him up high enough to bring it back.
You could hear the hitter screaming in the background too on that replay as Nick Markakis singles to left, and that ball very slowly will trickle out to Pilar for a leadoff single. Markakis on base twice.
I mean, you better hit it right in the hole. Otherwise, somebody's going to get to it.
So a good start. Braves have a leadoff man on for Freddie Freeman. He walked back in the opening inning. 2-1 Toronto. You like this Toronto team in the American League East, don't you?
I do. And then these veterans that aren't hitting, when they start all coming around, it's a good lineup. Their bullpen is a question mark, like it is for a lot of teams. But they've got a lot of young arms that are flamethrowers down there that could be real good.
Mentioned earlier, they were 83-79 last year. They finished 13 games behind Baltimore, but in third place. Their first winning season since 2010. So they're trending in the right direction in American League play. As Freeman couldn't lay off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two.
Mentioned those 9 strikeouts for Freddie, but he has none in his last 10 plate appearances. And solid contact, right on the sweet spot, solid.
Ripped foul to the left. Give him the whole third base line. Nobody out. And Martin smothered that.
Yeah, there are some openings here for Freddie if he's able to take advantage. With Donaldson playing so far off the line, and then look over here on the right side where they're having to hold the runner on. Big openings to each side of the diamond.
See how the Braves play it here. Markakis full count, nobody out. Chris Johnson on deck. He's going. Good jump. And Freeman ripped it straight back. This will be a fascinating contrast in offenses in this series. Toronto, a very powerful home run hitting club. The Braves, a team that has to put together hits in bunches to score, generally speaking.
Yeah, but you know what? The Blue Jays pitching staff's given up more home runs than any other staff in the American League. 14.
One here would be nice. Again, the runner goes, and a mile-high fly to center. Pompey is going to have room. And Freeman just missed. Markakis back to first on a towering fly out to center by Freddie Freeman. 1 down.
That was a rafter scraper too.
Chris Johnson struck out with a couple of men aboard in the first. As I mentioned earlier, this is the first game he's ever been tabbed as the designated hitter.
And for a lot of guys who are used to playing every day, or when they're in the lineup, you know, they're playing a position, it's not an easy thing to do, as evidenced last year by the Braves going 4 for 37 in the DH spot.
And that was a shocking number, because when you think of how the Braves were put together last year, the guys that would be able to go in and just slug, Evan Gattis, Justin Upton, Jason Hayward if you wanted. To hit 108 as a group,
yeah,
that's amazing. And 174 collectively since 2011. 0-2. Did you DH at all in your AL days?
I may have a bat or two, you know, filling in for somebody.
Did you like it?
I don't remember. It was so long ago.
Did they have the DH?
I'm going to say yes. I liked it any way I could to get on the field. Didn't matter.
Good point. But it is tough.
Did they have the DH? Is that what you said?
Yeah, just had to see it if you're paying attention over that. Chipper used to say that all the time.
Yeah.
He hated it.
Yeah.
He hated being the DH.
He didn't like sitting around and waiting 2 innings to hit, to be in the game. He had to be involved, and I think that's what plagues a lot of these guys. They don't feel like they're in the game.
That makes you appreciate what guys like David Ortiz have done for so many years, that they can be that productive and that they are so accustomed to that role.
Right. And there's some people who can adapt to it, and they have their own routine about it. Edgar Martinez, maybe the best DH of all time, certainly adapted to it well.
Up the middle and through. Chris Johnson has a hit, and the Braves have runners first and second with 1 man out.
Good at bat. This is a weird thing with this field, because they already know that it's slow, but now as a base runner, is it so slow I can take an extra base because it takes a long time for the outfielders to get to the ball? I mean, that was a situation there in this instance for Markakis. Normally you wouldn't try to go to third on a ground ball to center field, but if it's slow, maybe you start thinking you can.
Yeah, I mean, for 4 or 5 innings, it's really a fact-finding mission for everybody in the visiting clubhouse. As A.J. Pierzynski bats, he hit it hard, but lined out to right. And Hutchison missed. Boy, he's thrown a lot of pitches. 57 of them, and he's only got 1 out in the third.
A.J. hit a rope his first time up, too.
Foul away, even count. Braves tonight 1 for 3 with runners in scoring position. 2-1 Toronto. They've hit 2 solo homers. The Braves run came in the second. Eric Young Jr. with a 2-out, 2-strike hit that brought home Andrelton Simmons. Bouncing ball right side. That's through for a hit. Here comes Markakis around third. Batista loads up. His throw is off target. And now a rundown between first and second. Pierzynski will try to stay alive. Nobody's covering second. He'll beat the Rat. Game is tied at 2.
Great piece of base running here by A.J. on the hit. He gets it through. Bautista's got an excellent arm, but boy, he just airmailed this. And when A.J. sees the ball airmailing the relay man, well, he naturally is going to try to take second base. Well, it got to Russell Martin so fast that he was able to cut him down at second base. He thought nobody there. Outfielders had to come in and try to cover.
So the Braves bunched together 3 singles, and they've tied the game on a Pierzynski RBI hit. And that'll bring up Simmons with men at second and third and only 1 out. And Martin saved a run with that smothering stop.
Goins has played long enough at shortstop. I know it's his first start tonight, but when there's a ground ball that barely gets through on the right side and the second baseman's diving for it, there's nobody else around the bag but you. Third baseman's got to cover because the guy's going first to third. And yet when he threw the ball to first base, it was like he thought he had all kinds of backup at the bag, and he didn't.
So maybe a mental mistake by the shortstop, who's already committed a physical mistake in the game. His first start since Jose Reyes suffered a cracked rib. Simmons had the first Braves hit and scored the first Atlanta run. That one short hopped the plate.
Nice stop by Martin. Very fortunate there.
Hutchinson didn't make it easy on himself, as Joe said in his last start. He couldn't hold a 7-1 lead in Baltimore. He's been given 2 leads tonight, and he's in danger of giving it up here in the 3rd. Ground ball toward 3rd. Donaldson holds the runner at 3rd, throws across in time for the 2nd out.
Might have been a double play if they'd handled it better defensively. Now watch, the ball gets through. You see the second baseman over there. Now the throw comes down to Goins. Now he goes to first base and then just peels off. And I don't know who he thought was going to back up the play, but he peeled off and got out of the way, and that allowed Przinsky to get to second. Kept the inning going by that not being a double play ball.
Jace Peterson struck out his first time. Let's see what he can do hitting 8th tonight. Good idea to bat him down in the order. Try to get his bat going. He's a 200 hitter right now, and he's batted 3 or 4 different spots already this year for the Braves.
Yeah, I like him down there. He took an 0 for 3 in that last game against Miami at home Wednesday afternoon, but he was 3 for his last 7 before that, and a lot of that had come at the bottom part of the order.
He's batted 1st, 2nd, 7th, and 8th in National League play. He's hitting 8th tonight. And downstairs, 2 balls, no strikes. Play 2-1.
One of the things they're doing to Jace is what they do to a lot of young hitters that they're testing out, is you've got to be able to handle the fastball in. So they're going hard in, soft away, and until you prove to them that you can handle that fastball in, they're going to keep pounding the inside part of the zone.
We've seen Hutchinson do that to all the Braves hitters in the first 2+ innings tonight. He's rallied to even the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Singles by Markakis, Chris Johnson, and A.J. Przinsky have tied the game at 2. Strike 3 called at the knees. And the inning is over. A run on 3 hits. A.J. Przinsky ties it up with his 4th RBI as a Brave. A 2-2 game. Got a scare last time out against the Mets. when his knee buckled on this play up the middle.
Lucas Duda hit one right back at him and kind of squatted down. All his weight went down on that squat on his right knee. And I think it scared him enough that he wasn't very effective after that. Came out of the game that inning, but he's good to go tonight. All's well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you your impressions, any issues that you can see from Toronto?
No, other than 2 fastballs down the middle about belt high.
That'll make anybody's knee hurt.
Keep the ball in the ballpark.
Yeah.
He can start over thanks to his teammates getting him back even.
That one spun out of his hand as Ryan Goins is the hitter. Jose Reyes just can't stay healthy here in Toronto, and that's a shame. He was feeling great this spring, but a cracked rib was discovered after he came out of the game last time out, complaining about the side. So what they lose in Reyes offensively, they potentially gain Joe defensively. They really like this kid's glove. He's not really a kid. He's 27.
Yeah, but Reyes was off to a great start. He was 12 for 37, a .324 mark with 3 doubles on the stolen base. You know the energy that Jose Reyes brings to your ball club.
To short, Simmons has it. And a strong throw gets Goins for out number 1.
They only have 2 hits, but they were big ones that counted. So if Julio can stay out of the middle of the plate in the middle of their order, then maybe the Braves can keep pecking away at Hutchison and get some more runs on the board.
Devin Travis out of Florida State. And as Joe mentioned, a former Detroit Tiger. He's making the jump from Double-A ball to the big leagues. And boy, he's seeing the ball jump. Solo homer in the first inning. His 3rd of the year and his 11th run batted in. I love trades like that. The Tigers had Ian Kinsler. This kid was going to be stuck in the minor leagues for the next couple of years. They needed an outfielder. They got Anthony Gose. Gose has been instrumental for the Tigers, who, by the way, are 9-1 after they won today. And this kid has come in and been terrific for him.
Opportunity. I liked what I saw in the swing, that side shot we had of his home run swing. He has virtually no stride. Keeps his hands back beautifully and then strong.
Line over Peterson and into right field for a hit. And you see Devin Travis think about taking the extra base. That ball was ripped.
Watch his front foot. He picks it up, but he just puts it straight down and then lets his hands do the work. Played in the Little League World Series, played in the College World Series. Now he's in the big leagues.
Here's Donaldson. He was called out on a check swing in the first inning. Breaking ball low. Well, Billy Beane did it again in the offseason. Totally tore apart his roster in Oakland. And at the moment, the A's are in first place, although with a 5-5 record. Toronto happy to have Donaldson at the hot corner. Close play at first. It was described to us that the Jays roster makeover was able to provide them with guys who really love playing baseball. These are baseball players on this roster.
Good throw might have gotten Travis there. He was spinning his wheels a little bit.
One ball, no strikes. Well, Josh Donaldson, 8th in the AL MVP award voting last year. After that big year.
The A's got 4 players for him. One guy came this way, and Brett Lowry, Kendall Graveman, Sean Nolan, and Franklin Barreto all went to the A's from Toronto.
Probably don't know those last 3 names, but If you're betting with Billy Beane, you probably will in the next couple of years. And a strike taken by Donaldson. 2-1. In the air to right and deep. Markakis will wave goodbye. The Jays are playing long ball tonight. An opposite field homer for Josh Donaldson, his first. And Toronto is back in front. It's 4-2.
Belt-tight fastball. And great power the other way. Donaldson 31 doubles last year to go with 29 homers in Oakland.
Second time in Julio Teheran's career he's given up 3 homers. That's come in 3 innings of work.
All of them have been up. But he's only down 2.
But now you've got Bautista, Encarnacion, Navarro, and Martin with only 1 out. 3 Toronto homers. 4-2. Here's a good pitch. 1-1. Joe's right. Bautista was there for the taking. First the pitch. First got to the big leagues in 2004 with Baltimore. Tampa Bay, Kansas City, and Pittsburgh. All 4 of those teams had Bautista in the clubhouse. 11 games in the big leagues in 05. Then in 2006 hit .235 with the Pirates as he took a strike to fill up the count. And then in 2008 came to Toronto. Hit .214, .235, .260 with 54 homers, and the rest they say is history. In the air, but that one will stay in the park. Markakis in right. He retires the Toronto 5-time All-Star Jose Bautista.
Well, he claims the only difference between what he was doing and the year he hit 54 homers was just a slight change in his hands and his stance. And then he got more at bats too.
How about his 2011 year, Joe? He hit .302. Scored 105 runs, 155 hits, 43 homers, 103 walks, and 103 RBIs, and 132 walks.
It's a lot of hundreds.
Woo. I'll say. And Encarnacion, the batter now. He popped out his first time up. Missed corner.
That fly ball to right by Bautista is the first out of the infield. Everything's been on the infield, strikeout, or hit out of the park.
So Encarnacion now a 2-2 count. Former Cincinnati Red. Had an unbelievable May last year. 16 homers and 22 extra base hits, along with 33 runs batted in. And that goes to Joe's point. These veterans for Toronto collectively aren't hitting now. When they do, look out. Again, foul to the left.
He was already in a good hitter's park in Cincinnati, but he's made the most of being an everyday player here. Cincinnati, it seemed like he struck out a lot, couldn't stay in the lineup every day, and over here he's become a much tougher out. He's cut down on his strikeout, still fans some.
Another pop. Who wants this one? Simmons out, Maben in, calls him off, and Cameron's got it. And that retires the side. Toronto's hit 3 homers in the first 3 innings. Josh Donaldson's opposite field blast puts the Jays in front by a 4-2 score.
Point of contact. Right over the middle of the plate. Same spot. Dead center by Russell Martin. And this one a little higher, just above the belt. That was hit the other way by Donaldson. 3 swings.
4 runs and a 2-run Atlanta deficit as we head to the 4th inning. Maben, Young, and Callaspo are coming up.
Guy Hutchison hadn't exactly been dazzling anybody. He's racked up a lot of pitches, and Braves have left 2 men on base each of the first 3 innings.
Yeah, 70 pitches now into the 4th inning for the Toronto right-hander. As that one's driven a mile down the right field line, twisting, and into the seats. Symmetrical ballpark here in Toronto. It's 100 meters to the left and right field foul lines. 114.3 meters to right center and left center, and 121.9 straightaway center. Maben is down on 3 pitches, 1 out, 5 strikeouts for the Braves tonight.
Plays smaller than that.
Yeah. Here's Young. Eric is struck out, and he has single home run. He tries to bunt, and Donaldson at third will make the play in foul ground. 2 quick outs. I think it'd be interesting to find out how far a bunt would roll, even if it was perfect.
Well, I'm guessing that based on what Eric told Christina, he already had tested that to see which way, if it was going to tilt to the baseline or roll flat. I'm sure during that extra batting practice the guys came out and took this afternoon, those that wanted to. It was optional. I bet he was rolling balls down the line to test it.
Ball, 1 strike.
Callaspo had 1 strikeout in spring training. Is that right? 40.
Yep.
40 or 50 some at bats or plate appearances, or was it 60?
I think he had 69 at bats in the spring.
1 strikeout, and he has not struck out so far in the regular season in 23 at bats.
So 1 every 94, including the 2 tonight. It's pretty good. A little late on a fastball there, though. 2 balls, 2 strikes. To short. Goins got it and got his man. 3 up, 3 down. Quick and easy inning for Hutchison. He needed that. He leads 4-2 in the 4th.
Jays lead the Braves 4-2. As we take a look at our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot numbers, the Braves are certainly off to a great start defensively with the fewest errors in the majors and the 2nd most double plays turned. Now, we all know the big role that Andrelton Simmons plays in these numbers, but Simmons told me he's been impressed with how Jace Peterson's looked, and as has the rest of the team. He soaks up all the knowledge he can around him. He puts his head down, goes to work hard, guys, and those numbers are a reflection of that.
Lot to like. The young Braves middle infield tandem.
Yeah, that's a good point, Christina, that we heard also at the leadoff luncheon. Jay said, I just want to listen to everything these guys have to say, learn from them. And Andrelton chimed in, I just don't want to make them mad either.
That's a good idea. 4-2 Toronto. In the 4th inning, Navarro, Martin, and Pompey coming up, and a line drive into right center field by Diana Navarro.
He's supposed to be available if anybody's looking for an extra catcher. He's been around. Probably a good American League choice because he could DH and catch.
And the reason he's available, perhaps, is the man in batter's box, Russell Martin. Great feel-good story for Toronto baseball fans. A native Canadian signs with the Blue Jays. He's from Quebec. The Jays had a couple of exhibition games this year that they played in Montreal. They had huge sellout crowds at Olympic Stadium for those 2 games against the Reds. And Russell's father, who's a noted jazz musician, came out and performed the national anthems. And then in the final game, during a pitching change, his dad came out to the mound and took his son out of the ball game and walked off the field with him to a standing ovation.
That's fun.
Stade Olympique. On this lineup card for Toronto, they have back-to-back Canadians. You've got Martin now, and Pompey waiting next.
He hit .295 last year for the Pirates, did Martin, and he was first among all National League catchers in on-base percentage. It's not very often that you've got a catcher that has an on-base percentage over 400. He was at 406.
The Jays are banking on that kind of help from Russell Martin. So when a player goes somewhere, he also leaves somewhere. I think it'll be fascinating to see how the Pittsburgh Pirates do without Russell Martin in their lineup and handling that pitching staff.
Huge part of their team.
Pittsburgh's 3-6 at the start of tonight's play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Leadoff man on for Toronto. They lead by 2.
Julio thought he had a strike there. So did AJ.
AJ, don't say anything to Joe West. That didn't work out so well in the spring. New set of signs. Full count for Russell Martin. Runner goes. The pitch is low. Ball 4. A hit and a walk. 2 on, nobody out. Toronto to look back at Joe West. I think he thought he threw 2 strikes in that sequence that weren't called.
Well, they had a real good shot at a strike him out, throw him out, double play. If he'd made a good pitch to Russell Martin, Deano Navarro can't run out of sight in 2 days. They would have gunned him down in second.
So Roger McDowell's visit is a brief one, and here is young Mr. Pompey. He too a native Canadian. He's from Mississauga. That is a suburb of Toronto.
And didn't do a whole lot in the minor leagues. It was one of those things where if he hadn't been a local, they may have given up on him and cut him loose, but they stayed with him. Suffered broken hamate bones in both hands early in his career.
Popped him up. And Jace Peterson will make the play. That's an infield fly, 1 out. Pompey, who was hit by a pitch and picked off, now pops out. And now Toronto a ground ball away from getting out of the 4th. Pilar lined out.
They're going to have an interesting situation develop when Michael Saunders comes back, the guy they traded for from the Seattle Mariners. Good outfielder. Question is, where's he going to play?
Ball 1.
Saunders has been on the disabled list since the start of the season. Expected to come back pretty soon.
20-year-old Kevin Pilar, 22-year-old Dalton Pompey, 24-year-old Devin Travis. Done the job. Fly ball left. And the grab made by Eric Young. And that's out number 2. 9th place hitters Ryan Goins.
A visit from Roger McDowell. In all likelihood, a good one just to get Julio's mind back on his business. You know, you've given up some home runs, but don't let that seep into complaining about calls and get it at odds with the umpire, especially this umpire. Concentrate on making good pitches, and he has to the last 2 hitters, trying to get out of this 1st and 2nd no out jam.
He'll have the heart of the order coming up in the 5th. 2-run game. And what's good for the Goose or the Jay is good for the Gander. As hitter friendly as this park is, one of his guys might pop one if he can keep it a 2-run game.
And Hutchison has allowed 3 homers in his first 2 starts.
Fouled at the plate. It's 0-2.
Good back-to-back changeups.
One ball, 2 strikes for the Toronto shortstop. And he got the inside corner. Julio Teheran gets his man, pitches around 2 on with nobody out, keeps the game 4-2. And when we come back, Nick Markakis leads off. He's been on base twice. Right guys at the right time. Markakis, Freeman, and Chris Johnson. Those 3 men have been on base collectively 4 times tonight. 2 hits, 2 walks, one of the 2 Atlanta runs. Hutchison had an easy 4th. Let's make him work in the 5th. And that stayed high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's always easy to have the appearance of working quicker and getting in a better rhythm when you don't have anybody on base. But last inning he got the foul out by Eric Young on the bunt on the first pitch of that at bat.
Fly ball center, and that's going to drop. Pompey misjudged it. He broke back, and that cost him dearly. Markakis is 2 for 2.
Nick will take that. It's that hard one to read. Hit straight at you, and when it comes off the bat, you think it's hit deep, and as you see him turn sideways to use a crossover step, you realize he should have gone the other way.
Did you see that bounce off the turf? That thing took a hard turn to his right.
Oh boy, Freddie.
He loves the first pitch, as you know, but fouled it off. Strike 1. A long one would tie it. Down 4-2 in the fifth. You said earlier he's got an excellent changeup. He's thrown it in some really tough counts tonight.
That was another beauty. He's throwing his best ones to Freddie.
Action begins in the Toronto pen. Tried the corner, didn't get it. Osuna's another one of those 6 Toronto rookies.
Freddie's such a tough out because he can wait so long. His hands are so quick and he's strong. Doesn't have to commit early when he's behind in the count. Those are just 2 great change-ups in just ideal places.
And a big 6th strikeout of the night.
Look at that thing move down and away.
One on, one out for Chris Johnson. He has singled and struck out. Ball 1.
So you make all those good pitches to Freddie. Maybe you lighten up a little bit, relax a little bit, and hang one to Chris.
Good rip at it. Pulled foul past Bo Porter. And we'll do it again. This time with a 2-2 count. Braves have out hit Toronto 6-5. Jays, though, have hit 3 homers off Julio Teheran. Close, but it missed. Full count.
Last year, Hutchison gave up 23 home runs, but he only gave up 6 to right-handed hitters. That fastball and slider effective on them.
His 5th 3-ball count. Runner holds, and it's in the dirt. First and second, 1 out. A hit, a strikeout, and a base on balls, and that brings up A.J. Pierzynski, who already has an RBI single tonight. And this was the trouble Hutchinson had in his last outing. He could not complete the requisite 5 innings to qualify for the win. And he's in some trouble here with Pierzynski in the box.
With the success he had against Freddie with the changeup, we'll see if he uses it on A.J. here, who stands a little closer to the plate than Freddie.
He lashed at the first pitch. That's headed for the seats. Strike 1. Well, the old saying, you could watch the game or observe the game. I guarantee you Brzezinski was observing how he pitched Freddie Freeman in this inning.
Hard to pitch AJ down and in. That open stance, very upright, straight up and down stance. Easy for him to drop the barrel down and in. But you can go up there. That's tough for anybody.
Braves catcher quickly behind. No balls, 2 strikes. Fought it off.
That is not where Russell Martin wanted that one.
He's lucky AJ didn't crank it out of here.
Well, 0-2 count. Watch the target. He wanted it upstairs. He wanted to see if he'd chase something up and out of the zone, but it was belt high.
Another 0-2 pitch. He flips the bat and hits it toward left, but Pilar is going to catch it. And AJ is out number 2.
That was the changeup that Freddie couldn't reach.
So the fate of the inning rests on the shoulders of Andrelton Simmons. He scored the first Braves run his first time up. Toronto will have the top of their order coming up in the bottom of the 5th. And a strike.
Hutchison missed most of the 2013 season with Tommy John surgery. Came back last year. First full year back, went 11-13 with Toronto.
In the air to right. Batista's on the run. That ball is over his head and up against the wall. 1 run scores. Here comes Chris around third. They're going to wave him. Throw to the plate is going to be late. And all the way around to third goes Andrelton Simmons. And the Braves have tied it with 2 out.
Remember the other night at home when Andrelton had a double and a triple with 2 out? Drove in a couple of runs. Slider, hanger, and he didn't miss it. He gets it over Batista's head, and with 2 outs, the advantage for Chris at first base was that he could run on the crack of the bat. Didn't matter if he had run it down for an out or not. So that allowed him to go all the way from first to home, and Andrelton winds up at third base, and that's it for Hutchison.
Remember Yogi Berra? Deja vu all over again. That's again the fate of Drew Hutchison. He can't get through 5 with the lead, and he departs tied at 4. After that game-tying hit, with plans starting at as few as 18 games, become an A-list member today and get exclusive benefits customized to meet your needs. You'll also get a chance to secure your seats in 2017 for SunTrust Park. A-list prices increase next Friday. Go to Braves.com or call 404-577-9100 to join the A-list today. Tie game 4-4. A double for Simmons. Scores Markakis and Chris Johnson. And Jace Peterson, the batter. And the first pitch he sees from Roberto Osuna is fouled away.
Osuna's one of the young guns. He's been in 4 games. He struck out 7 in 5 innings. Missed 2013 because of arm surgery. And part of last year. Born in Cuba, raised in Mexico. Was pitching in professional baseball in the Mexican League when he was 15.
1 ball, 1 strike for Peterson, who struck out twice. I was going to say, he's had a colorful professional career. He's pitched for the Red Devils and the Blue Jays.
But never above A ball until this year.
And he's got Peterson behind, a ball and 2 strikes. High fly ball. That's belted deep right. Bautista on the run. He's not going to get that. That's going to bounce off the fence. Peterson on his way to second. He's around second, headed for third. And he'll make it with a triple. And the Braves have taken a 5-4 lead.
Jace got caught looking last time up. Called 3rd strike to end the inning with runners at 1st and 3rd. He went up there this time pretty obvious that he wasn't going to let that happen again. He was hacking away, and that was the same pitch he took for called 3rd strike. Fastball in, turned on it. And by the time Bautista got through chasing it around out there, a triple.
So Atlanta leads 5-4 now. A 3-run top of the 5th. A single, a walk, a double, and a triple. There's an explosive slider. It has Cameron Maybin behind 0-2.
96 fastball, 86 slider. But Jace got it turned around. His first RBI.
And Maybin is retired on strikes. Well, there's your lead, Julio Teheran. He could use a shutdown inning. He's got the top of the Toronto order coming up, but now he leads it. It's 5-4 Braves.
Feel we made the change from a regular major league team into a championship team, and it had a lot to do with what John Scherholtz brought to the club in free agency with Terry Pendleton and Sid Bream. It was amazing, the transformation with the players. I mean, we would come into the clubhouse and our eyes were this big now. We honestly felt we were independent. From that time on to the end of the season, there was not a person in that clubhouse that didn't feel that we were going to win that division.
You want to talk about an upbeat, inspirational, great guy? Greg Olson personifies those words. And he was an instrumental part in those great early days of the Braves run.
And you know what? He's probably one of those unsung guys, kind of a forgotten guy on that 91 team especially, and all that he did for that young pitching staff. Got some big hits too.
So Julio Teheran has allowed 3 Toronto homers, but now the Braves have gotten him a lead, 5-4 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Devin Travis gets it started. He hasn't retired him yet. Couple of hits, and Simmons plays that on a short hop, and he gets his man by a step. Good start, 1 down. How many times, Joe, did we say it last year? You get a lead, your starter needs a what?
He needs a shutdown inning.
Yep, exactly.
And if you can just get everybody to hit it to Andrelton, you'd like to take your chances. Pretty good pitch too. He got it in on him.
Donaldson has one of those Toronto homers. It was an opposite field shot last time up. And that was taken high. 1 ball, no strikes.
Oh, Donaldson, Bautista, Encarnacion, back to back to back. That's some thunder.
And then Martin lurking. I mean, this is, like you said, this is going to be a really fun Toronto team to watch. Unless, of course, you're pitching against them. After this series, we'll see him 2 more times. We'll see him in September, believe it or not. The Jays are coming to Atlanta September 15th and 16th and 17th. Beg your pardon, 3 more times. Two balls and a strike. And that'll play foul. It's 2-2. First pitch 107 tomorrow and Sunday. Then we head to New York for 3 with the Mets. Next weekend 3 with the Phillies. Then a nice long homestand that takes us into early May. Washington, the Reds for 4 and the Phillies for 3. No bases on balls, Julio. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, this will be an interesting choice. Home run he hit was on a fastball above the belt. And he hit it the other way.
That's hammered deep center field. Maben watches that one go. A 2-homer game for Donaldson, and for Julio Teheran, his first 4-homer game.
That wasn't a bad pitch. The others were. This is a changeup. Might have been up a little bit. He got fooled some out on his front foot some, and he still hit it out to straightaway center.
I think somebody in the hotel is flashing the signs to the hitters.
They're flashing, but I'm not sure.
Well, they're not distracting the hitters for Toronto. If that's the case, that's 4 homers tonight. And it's a tie game at 5, a shootout at the Rogers Center. Told you these are 2 contrasting offensive styles. Advantage, of course, Toronto. They get to hit last. 1 ball, 1 strike to Jose Bautista. He didn't like the call.
He thought he walked last time up and then flied out and was irritated. Let's look at the side swing. Let's see how far Donaldson gets out on his front foot. I mean, that was just pure strength. He had nothing left in the swing. His hands were already going forward. Great bat speed.
Well, as you know, the air in Canada is 17% lighter than it is in the States. That's why it was.
Yeah, there's also a $5 service fee on the flight out.
Right. 2-2 pitch for Batista. That just missed. Full count. Toronto scored 17 runs in their 4-game series with Tampa Bay. They lost 3 of those 4 games. They've got 5 runs on 6 hits, including 4 homers tonight, but they're only tied. And Batista will take a walk. Braves bullpen beginning to stir just a bit.
I thought that tee shot that Donaldson hit would have stirred him up a lot.
Here's Encarnacion. He's popped out twice. No hits in his last 19 at bats. That's what scares you. He's going to break out soon. You hope it's not here in Toronto against the Braves. Strike 1. Ripped to third and over the glove of Callaspo. That's headed for the corner. Batista around second. He's on his way to third. And he'll be stopped there. A rifle shot bullet off the bat of Encarnacion. And Toronto's in business. Second and third with 1 out.
And nobody throwing in the bullpen. These guys are teeing off. Fastball, belt high. I'm not even sure Callaspo had a chance to get his glove up on this one. And Batista had to freeze because he thought he might catch it. But whoever just got up in the bullpen better hurry up.
Here's Navarro. It's Cody Martin who's up first. Navarro is struck out and singled. And that's upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. Gretchen tells us Julio is the first starting pitcher for the Braves to allow 4 homers in a game since Ben Sheets against the Dodgers August 18th, 2012. One-0 pitch. Even count.
Hope Ben's doing well and watching tonight over in Louisiana.
Boy, was he good for the Braves.
Loved his last start.
The way it finished for him. The old saying, I'm going to go out and give it everything I got for an inning. He did that.
Go as hard as I can, as long as I can.
Mid to upper 90s with his fastballs. Great guy. 1 ball, 1 strike. High and tight to Navarro.
Trying to get him back off the plate. He's got to have something to pitch to.
Fouled at the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Toronto entered this game with 9 homers all year. They've hit 4 tonight.
That wasn't a bad pitch either. Tried a backdoor slider and he spoiled it. So that pitch up and in didn't really serve its purpose of getting him to lay off anything away.
Foul to right. Lefties up in the Braves bullpen along with Cody Martin.
Fastball in. And that one, again, we're talking about left-handers. If it's up and in, like the one to AJ earlier tonight, he had a hard time getting around on it because it tied him up. If it's down, they can drop the barrel on it. That's what happens.
There's a good pitch. And Brzezinski with a pep talk for Tehran. He gets a big second out. Navarro strikes out. And that'll bring up Russell Martin.
He took a little off. I don't think this was a changeup. I think it was just a slow breaking ball. Slower breaking ball. And Navarro was way out in front.
This will buy some more time for the bullpen.
Well, and you got a base open here too. 2 out. Even the way Russell Martin's been going, the fact that he homered earlier tonight, and you got a rookie behind him, might influence what they want to do.
Russell Martin snapped an 0 for 22 in a big way with his first homer as a Blue Jay. That came in the second inning. And then he walked last time up. So you go after the veteran or you go after the kid. Let's find out.
His first pitch will give you a pretty good idea. And a pitch to him.
Strike one for Russell Martin. Bautista and Encarnacion are the Toronto runners. They've tied the game here in the 5th inning. A 2-homer game for Josh Donaldson.
Probably going back to another breaking ball.
He did. It's grounded to third. Braves pitch to Martin and it paid off. Tehran escapes the inning despite allowing a game-tying homer. On we go to the 6th. What a ball game. Top of the order up for the Braves. They're tied again at 5. Home run hitters. And A big part of this Toronto offense and the subject of our AT&T Uverse trivia question. Since 1987, Bautista's one of 2 Blue Jays to lead the AL in homers for a season. Name the other Toronto hitters since '87 to lead the league in home runs.
I think Jesse Barfield's home run title was a little before that.
Bell, Barfield, Joe Carter. As Eric Young Jr. leads off for the Braves here in the 6th. And he shoots one toward Bautista in right, and he'll gallop to his right and make the play. We're out number 1. Great to have our pal Matt Coney with us in the booth. He's our fine flight representative with Delta Airlines. They get us from town to town safely. Max says his daughter Melissa Storm watches every game. She probably knows the answer to the trivia question. So Melissa, if you'd help Joe and me, a little weary after having to cross over the border last night. We don't really have the answer. If you want to send it to your dad and he can pass it along to us, that's just fine. Here's Callaspo. He's 0 for 3. And Osuna.
Little break in that change up to fastball, 96 to 81.
Osuna, the youngest pitcher to appear for Toronto in a major league game. All he did was make his major league debut at Yankee Stadium with the bases loaded and retired both hitters. He's given up a hit. He's got the strikeout and the flyout. Now he's got Callaspo in a deep count. And Callaspo takes a walk. So now it's the middle of the Braves order's turn to try to play long ball. Markakis and Freeman coming up.
I just love Callaspo's approach. Flat bat on his shoulder. Real long time with the bat through the zone. Stays on top of the pitches. And a good eye.
Markakis has been on base all 3 times. He's walked and singled twice. He scored 2 of the Braves' 5 runs. Said earlier, similar teams with markedly different offensive styles. Toronto can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Braves are stringing together hits. They've out-hit Toronto 8-7. And we're even at 5. The pitch. Ball 2. Luis Avilan is throwing in the Braves pen. There's nobody up for Toronto. Base hit for Markakis. He's got 3 hits. First and second with 1 out. And Freddie Freeman is due.
He kept his hands in, used his hips for some leverage there to get the big in through the zone. Popped that hard.
Markakis, the team leader in multi-hit games with 4. Tonight's his first 3-hit game for the Braves. And now Joe West wants to break up the meeting on the mound. Great chance for Freddie Freeman. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. As we showed you on our graphics earlier, this is the part of the order that's done a lot of damage against Toronto. Freddie Freeman and Chris Johnson. 1 ball, no strikes. Now the Toronto pen is busy.
Yeah, his command just a little bit off of that off-speed stuff, which is going to allow the Braves hitters to sit on that fastball. And that's not good for Osuna. It's Aaron Loop on the left. He's the only one up. I thought they had 2 up.
Freeman, a little pop. Shallow left center field. That baby might get down. It is going to be caught. What a grab. What a grab by Pilar.
He's becoming a fan favorite. He goes up over the wall to catch one against Tampa. Now he robs Freddie coming in. Question is, did he trap it? I don't think he did. He did not. Heck of a play.
What a catch to rob Freddie Freeman. And now Chris Johnson with 2 outs. Ball 1.
Martin's getting crossed up.
Check swing and out of play. 4 of the Braves RBIs have come with 2 outs today. And Chris Johnson provide another one here in the 6th. Callaspo and Markakis are the runners. Here it comes. Good eye. Ball 2. Two and 2. Nice crowd tonight in Toronto. 21,397 the official attendance.
This place seats 50, I think.
Two and 2. And Chris is down on strikes. Braves threatened but can't score. Great catch by Pilar in left. Saved a big inning perhaps. And he helps keep this game tied up 5 apiece. The most of his chances in the early days for Toronto. This is our Toyota key play of the game.
Yeah, it looked like it was about to blossom into a real nice inning until this diving catch to rob Freddie Freeman of a base hit. That would have loaded him up.
So the night is done for Julio Teheran. He allows 5 runs on 7 hits in his 5 innings of work. 4 home run balls. Most he's ever given up in a game. I'll bring on Luis Avilan to face the bottom part of the Toronto order. Pompey, Pilar, and Goins. And a bunt try, and called foul immediately by Joe West. Strike 1.
Both Hutchison and Teheran, the respective opening day starters for both of these teams, very fortunate to get out of here and not have a decision hanging over their head. A bad decision.
No balls and a strike.
Boy, Luis has been good. Seems like he's found his form again from 2013 when he was so effective. Only 1 hit allowed in his first 5 outings.
How about that pitch? He took care of Pompey for the first out. You know, the season's long, 162 games. For a guy like Avilan, he might pitch in 75 games. The way it might turn out, Joe, his first outing might be the catapult for a great year.
I don't think there's any question. Roger and Freddie Gonzalez each talked about how that was such a good thing for him when he came in that game 1 situation in relief at Teheran and get that home to first double play with the bases loaded, nobody out.
Off the bat of Jared Saltalamacchia, and the Braves held on to win 2-1 over the Marlins down at Marlins Park. And I think it's interesting. He was a question mark going into spring training. How would Avilan rebound? And the Braves left-handed relief corps in spring training really struggled to retire left-handed hitters especially. But the early returns for Avilan and the Braves are awfully encouraging. He's off to a good start tonight. Nice cheer for Pilar. He's lined out, flied out, but he's made a great catch. And fouled at the plate. Mentioned this kid's minor league hitting credentials. Joe's right. He's hit everywhere he's played. He did so in college too. This man had a 54-game college hitting streak in 2010. And we know he can play defense.
I don't care what league you're playing in. That's impressive.
One ball, 2 strikes. Deep short. Callaspo cuts it off. And the throw to first is in time. 2 out.
One of the interesting stories that Buck Martinez told us about Pilar was something that stuck with him in college. When he went to Cal State, a Division II school, his coach told all of his team, you know what, you guys got to work hard. You're playing Division II baseball because nobody in Division I wanted you. So you got to do everything right. You've got to play perfectly, and you've got to bust your tail. And he said that left a lasting impression on him. That's what he had to do if he was going to play at this level.
Here's Goins, 27 years old, out of Round Rock, Texas, and Dallas Baptist College.
Great baseball school. They have a great program.
One ball, 1 strike.
Last several years seems like they're always ranked in the top 25 and always give people fits in the regionals.
Goins 5'10", 185. 67 games with the Jays last year. Lewis just missed. Good try. 2 balls and a strike. Swing and a miss. It's 2-2. Late swing. Look out, folks. Popped up out of play.
And a fan from Willowdale, Ontario, near the grab.
No kidding.
Yeah.
He left me the Canadian seating charts for the World Series here.
Oh.
The stadium hasn't changed all that
No.
much. The seats are still the same.
Right. Still blue.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Ryan Goins, the Toronto shortstop, with Reyes on the shelf. And skipped up there for a full count. Pitch number 8 coming up. Devin Travis, the Toronto leadoff man, is waiting next. Let's worry about him in the 7th. And we will worry about him in the 7th. Avilan with a perfect 6th with a couple of strikeouts. A.J. Brzezinski goes to work. We're tied up. CPI Security, and by the Georgia Lottery. Jersey of our pal Eddie Perez, Braves bullpen catcher. His bullpen's in play tonight as we enter the top of the 7th inning. 5-5 game.
AJ's going to stay in there and hit against Aaron Luke, left-hander, 5'11", 205 out of Hanville, Louisiana. Crossfire action. But he has not fared so well here at the beginning of the season. He's already 1-1 though in the first 10 games.
Little looper, if you will, and caught it short. Goins went out and tracked it down.
Looper, huh?
Couldn't resist. 1 out.
7.20 ERA in 5 innings, 4 runs allowed.
Andrelton Simmons has had a nice night. He scored 2 runs. He's knocked in 2 runs. His 5th inning hit was originally scored a double, then changed to a triple, then rechanged to a double again. He took 3rd on a throw.
Whatever it was a great piece of hitting by him to go the other way. Taking more and more pitches to right center field.
He cranks this one toward left. Hard hit, but right at Pilar. 2 out. Hope you'll join us in Atlanta when the Washington Nationals come to town. Braves will be back from this road trip April 27th through the 29th. We've got great ticket offers for you. Sport Clips $8 Mondays get you a terrace level seat for $8, and the Coca-Cola $12 Tuesday deal gets you a club level seat for just $12. Go to Braves.com/specials for the lowest ticket prices and best deals for this 2015 season.
Well, they got some more bad news today. The Nationals, Craig Stammen, torn tendon in his elbow, might be out for the year.
He was a real rubber-armed relief pitcher for them. There's Jace Peterson with an RBI triple tonight.
Well, 2 guys they used a lot last year and in the last couple of years. Tyler Clippard, Craig Stammen, neither one on the team now.
Bouncing ball toward first. Encarnacion's got it. And Luke works an easy top of the 7th. We stretch at the Rogers Center. 5-5 game. At 5 apiece.
And again, there's that swing by Anderson going the other way. Cleared the bases. He wound up at 3rd and then scored on this deep gapper by Jace Peterson. But here's the man. This tee shot, 2-iron on a changeup by Donaldson, his 2nd homer of the night. Tied the game in the 5th. It's been left to the bullpen. And so far so good by everybody that's come in out of the pen.
That's our CPI Security game summary. And the Braves go to the bullpen once again. It's Cody Martin's turn.
Cody Martin gave up his first big league run his last time up against Miami. A home run. But all in all, he has been outstanding.
Top of the order, Travis, Donaldson, and Batista. Go get him, kid. Braves bullpen pitching to a 2.06 ERA coming into play tonight. Almost half of Toronto's relief corps earned run average. See if that is a big factor tonight in a tie game late. Breaking ball. 2-2.
Pretty good fastball from Cody there, 91. After he dropped a little 79-mile-an-hour breaking ball on him.
Into the seats again.
With no stride, this guy's awfully hard to put away up there. He has fanned 7 times and 35 at bats coming in. 2 for 3 tonight.
Travis, one of the Toronto kids, a couple of the Braves kids down on the farm had good days yesterday. Malik Smith had 5 hits in a doubleheader day for Mississippi, including his first homer. Tyrell Jenkins, a complete game.
Wow.
With 2 runs, 4 hits, and a walk for the Mississippi Braves. Williams Perez gave up 1 run over 5 innings to the Charlotte Knights. Jose Peraza had a triple, an RBI, and a run scored. It's fun to follow those young men as they make their way up the minor league ladder for Atlanta. And in the air towards center, Maben broke late, but tracked it down.
Yeah, but the difference between Cameron and what happened to Pompey earlier is that Cameron didn't break back. He just froze, and it gave him that split second to read the ball and what it was going to do, and then he was able to turn on the jets and come get it.
Well, here's the man you said for Toronto, justifiably so, Josh Donaldson.
See how Cameron just he turned sideways, so he's in a good position to either cross over and go back or cross over and come in, but just that split second gave him a good read.
A homer to center, a homer to right for the Toronto third baseman, with 29 home runs last year. Ball 2. Mets are winning again tonight, 3-1 over Miami. Mets lead the division, trying to win their 8th game in 11 tries. They're doing this without David Wright, who's disabled.
Yeah, and they won 5 in a row already.
Washington's winning 7-1 over the Phillies. Cardinals and Reds tied 1-1. Cueto and Waka. It's a good matchup tonight in St. Louis. 3 balls and a strike. We head to New York next. Bouncer up the middle. Simmons will get a friendly hop. 2 outs. Contrasting offensive styles in this game. Can't think of 2 more contrasting pitching styles that'll be displayed tomorrow night in game 2. Tomorrow afternoon in game 2. Alex Wood for the Braves and R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer, for Toronto. Be a fun one.
Last couple of times the Braves have seen R.A. Dickey over 2 or 3 years. They've had some pretty good luck with him.
Base is empty for Batista.
Looked like a good pitch.
Cody thought it was. Two and one. Bautista takes the base on balls. The Braves have walked him twice. And now Encarnacion's the hitter who snapped an 0 for 19 slide with a 5th inning double.
You can understand how you can miss when you fall behind. The key to these guys is getting an early strike on them, so you've got something to work with. But falling behind 2-0 to Bautista, he made a good pitch for a strike and then didn't want to make a mistake. And that ball 4 pitch missed by quite a margin.
Encarnacion, a 2-time All-Star with 2 outs. Takes a strike.
Last time Bautista was on with Julio pitching, he only was maybe 1 stride off the bag at first. Just now, when they had Martin throw over, he had extended it out there to the turf.
Right at the edge now. And a line drive into center field, a hit. Bautista rounds the bag at second, and Maben comes up aggressively. No further advance for Bautista. Walk and a single with 2 outs.
Again, not a bad pitch. Cody's good at pounding that fastball to the outside corner. It's 89, 90, 91 on any given day, but it's always well located out there, and that time you got to give Encarnacion credit for going out there and getting it.
Going to face Navarro, who was struck out twice and has a 4th inning single. 5-5 game, home 7th.
Good over hook there.
Here's an interesting stat. Toronto tonight is 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. You can overcome that when you hit 4 homers.
Yep. They're in scoring position at the plate.
Yeah. No balls and a strike. He's way ahead of the Toronto DH.
I don't want to see him make a mistake, but I'd love to see if he could hit that same spot down and away to a lefty with his fastball. Let's see if Navarro can reach it.
Up and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. In the air center, well hit. Maben on the run. He got there.
Well, that scared me because I thought Cameron turned the wrong way, but he's such a good athlete. He was able to make the adjustment and run it down. Good play.
Toronto still hitless with men at second or third, and we head to the 8th. Tied up. Of play in Toronto. Braves will take a peek at the 4th Toronto hurler of the night, and it's left-hander Brett Cecil.
Great big guy right over the top. 28 years old now, 6'3", 220. He's got 5 years into the big leagues. He's in his 5th game so far. Last year, 66 games, 2-3 with a 2.70 ERA.
Man that had mixed success as a major league starting pitcher. They began to convert him to the bullpen in 2012, and he's taken off since. 60 games in relief in 2013, 66 more last year. ERA in the upper 2s. And Johnny Gomes grabs a bat. He'll hit for Cameron Maybin to lead off the inning. Maybin 0 for 3 tonight, but a fine catch to preserve the tie a moment ago. And Cecil, a strike. He was the closer in the opening days of the season. He's not the closer now for Toronto.
Boy, Johnny's owned him too.
And he cranks that ball deep toward left center field. Did Gomes get enough? Yes, he did. A pinch hit home run for Johnny Gomes. He still owns him, Joe, and the Braves are in front.
Boy, did that ball jump. And when you know that you have had good numbers against a guy, it doesn't matter how hard he throws or what he's got, you feel good about your chances. Johnny Gomes comes off the bench, hacking. Breaking ball, too. Hard breaking ball. That was up.
So a veteran of the AL East comes back to the Jays' nest, and Atlanta with 1 homer leads in the 8th. And now you know how it sets up for the Braves. You think about Johnson and Grilly for the 8th and the 9th. 6-5 Braves lead it, with Eric Young standing in.
We talk about, and we talked about it in spring training, about guys like Gomes and Kelly Johnson, about his veteran presence on the bench for the Braves. They have the ability to come off the bench and with one swing win a ball game for you. They've got pop in their bat. Kelly hit a home run while in the lineup the other day at home, and now Gomes does it off the bench.
To short. Goins has it. What a nice job by Freddie Gonzalez. He knows the matchups, right? I mean, he's got the lineup cards, and he can look at the same matchups we do. And he waited for the perfect opportunity to present itself. With Cecil in, he can pinch hit for Maben. Gomes gets the call, and Gomes rewards him with a long homer.
Beautiful thing.
So Cecil, who blew a save against the Yankees, has allowed the Braves to take the lead. And a strike. Ashbro takes one over the inside corner.
Sets up pretty well for the end of the game for the Braves, with Jim Johnson already loosening up to work the 8th, and then really in the 9th. Be nice to add on here.
It is Johnson who'll have the bottom part of the order coming up for Toronto in the 8th. Braves 6, Jays 5, game 1 of the weekend series. Johnny Gomes with a pinch hit leadoff homer has broken the tie. And that's high, 2-2. I told you, Toronto's bullpen has been a question mark for them. Lots of power in that bullpen, lots of young arms. But their bullpen has pitched to an almost 4-point ERA this year. Little dribbler back to the mound, and Cecil nearly had that spin out of his glove, and then a sinker to first, 2 out. Nick Markakis has a perfect night, 3 for 3 with a walk. He's also scored 2 runs.
I think that sinker to first base hurt Encarnacion's hand too.
Ball 1.
That man lives for those types of moments.
His bench last year was not exactly the 27 Yankees, if you recall. You remember who hit the last pinch hit homer for the Braves?
I do not.
Last August 28th, it was Ryan Domit. Hit one against the Mets. And Nick Markakis is 4 for 4.
Have a night. Fastball right back where it came from.
He had 5 4-hit games last season for Baltimore. His career high is 5 hits, and it came against the Braves back in 2011. So Cecil having a tough time of it here in the 8th.
It's Pete Walker, the pitching coach.
While the meeting breaks up, we invite you to join us at Turner Field May 3rd to support Freddie Freeman and the Melanoma Research Foundation. Braves are offering a ticket package that includes a discounted ticket, a pair of Freeman arm sleeves, and a donation to the Melanoma Research Foundation. The sleeves are limited, so get your tickets today at Braves.com/Freeman. Freddie's got family here in Toronto. His dad was born not 25 miles from Toronto.
No kidding.
And his mom, I believe he said, was from Windsor, Ontario. So he's hoping for a happy weekend. His team leads by a run 6-5 with 2 outs. And outside from Cecil, 2-0 your count. High drive, belted deep right field. How far is that one going? Second deck. A no-doubter from Freddie Freeman off Brett Cecil, and the Braves have broken it open.
All those that he's been getting robbed on, backing guys up to the fence on, he just made up for it.
I think a little frustration was taken out on that baseball. He vaporized it into the second deck into deep right.
Goodness gracious.
And that's the end of the line for Brett Cecil, who allows 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning, including 2 homers. Toronto hit him early. The Braves are hitting him late and leading. A 3-run.
Price every day.
Only the Oakland A's lost more homers from last year's roster into this 2015 season than the Braves. Toronto's also on that list. They've hit 4 homers. The Braves have hit 2. We've said all spring long, Joe, that Freddie Freeman follows Johnny Gomes around all the time. He's followed him with home runs here in the 8th tonight.
You know what I liked about the homer, other than the obvious. This is Liam Hendricks brought in to pitch here to get out of the inning. But we had that shot from kind of above home plate looking out. And when a guy hits one like that, all the players know what just happened. And it's interesting and funny to me when they all stop just to see where's that one going to land. They don't want to miss seeing where it landed, knowing it was crushed.
That one went about 147.6 meters off the bat of Freddie.
I would have said longer.
Absolute rocket. Now Chris Johnson to right. Batista back a step or 2, and he is there, and Hendricks restores order. But a big 8th inning for Atlanta. Johnny Gomes with a pinch hit blast to left put us in front. Freddie Freeman with a 2-run homer into the second deck extends the lead. It's Atlanta 8, Toronto 5. Home 8 coming up. 16th, 1869, the Cincinnati Red Stockings defeated the Amateurs 24-15 in baseball's first professional game.
That's great history. I think, is today the day that Bob Feller threw the only no-hitter on opening day in history?
I'll check for you. As Jim Johnson gives up a drive to Russell Martin on the first pitch, and Toronto is in a fifth homer. Martin had one hit all year. He's got 2 homers tonight.
First pitch from Jim Johnson, too, in the first run he's allowed this year.
So it's a 2-run game. And here's Dalton Pompey. Johnson missed the inside corner. It's 1-2. And a check swing. That ball pops away. Call the ball. 2-2. Yeah, the Bob Feller no-hitter was yesterday.
Yesterday? Okay.
Baseball history. Go. He did not. No walks with the Thunder in this Toronto lineup. Base hit. A homer and a single greets Jim Johnson. Pilar bats. He saved a run with his glove, and he's 0 for 3 at the plate.
And knowing he doesn't want to walk anybody, this is probably a better pitch than he'd like to have to make. But 3-2, made him swing the bat, and he did.
Told you the Braves have turned 14 double plays earlier tonight. One here would be very, very nice. And that skips up there. Brzezinski got a glove on it. 1 ball, no strikes. Bouncing ball, base hit. Pilar's in the hit column. 3 straight hits for the Jays in the 8th.
Just before that pitch, I noticed that Callaspo was playing about even with the bag, which surprised me a little bit. Pilar has pulled the ball 3 times tonight before that base hit, and I don't know that if he would have bunt. I don't know what the scouting report is on him, if he will drop a bunt down, but I thought that Callaspo was kind of shallow for Pilar, which may have cut down on his range on that bouncer.
Let's see if Toronto plays a little National League Baseball here and bunts. Braves think they will. And they do, and it's popped up. Callaspo had to make the play at third. And the only play he had was to throw to first. So that will be a sacrifice. And the tying runs are at second and third base now with 1 out.
hopped in the air, and I don't know if that ball would have spun back foul or not on this stuff. But as big a hop as that was, might have been worth a chance.
Toronto is 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Big chance for Devin Travis. And he didn't get it.
There's that nasty sinker. 95 running in on him. Couldn't stop his swing. And again.
Try hitting a shot put.
Well, the other pitch is the home run ball, and then the 3-2 pitch he had to throw a strike. That's different, but the home run ball was up. When he's up, he doesn't get the sinking action.
He's way ahead of Travis, 0-2. And Przinsky with a body block. Good play. That saved a run.
Great stop by A.J. Obviously, if he makes contact, Jim wants him to hit it on the ground. The Braves are back on the infield except for third baseman Callaspo, so they'll concede a run for another out unless it's hit to Alberto.
Driven down the right field line, slicing foul. Thankfully, that nearly tied it.
Look at the location of this one. Trying to make it sink. But it was up and flat. So when it's flat and runs back to you, you're going to get a chance to put the barrel on it. Caught a break there that it was hit foul.
Travis loves the home cooking. 9 hits and a .474 average at home this year. He's behind in the count late.
If that sinker down, you're going to get a swing and a miss or a grounder.
There's the grounder. Simmons is going to go toward third. And now a rundown. And the runner at second, Pilar, ran into Andrelton Simmons. And the second base umpire, knowing that he was trying to get interference, immediately said, safe. That's the base runner's problem. And he's out number 2.
It's Tom Hallion. Heads up play by Andrelton. The guy ran into an out, and the Braves executed the rundown. Pilar knew he had made a big mistake and was trying to figure out some way to get out of it. But he ran way out of the line to try to get Andrelton. And actually it was Callaspo who was well inside the line there.
It's a 6-5-4 putout. And the importance of that play, obviously, is there's not another runner in scoring position for Toronto. Man at first, 2 outs is Devin Travis. He gets the RBI. And now Donaldson hits with a man at first and 2 outs in a 1-run game.
Big difference. Big difference having a runner at third base. That's a potential tying run who could score on a wild pitch, pass ball, error, or a hit.
Big lead at first. And a bouncing ball to second. The throw to first. And that's going to end the inning. Johnson bends but doesn't break. 2 runs on 3 hits. A Martin homer and a ground out makes it close. We go to the 9th. What a game. fans, it's time to remind you of our Toyota Tweet of the Week. The question is, which Braves newcomer has impressed you the most so far this season, and why? Tweet your response with the hashtag #NewBraves, and your tweet could appear on Braves Live after the game. So here we go, fateful ninth.
Here's another guy that has not pitched above A ball. He was at 3 levels of A ball last year, when a combined 8 and 3, all as a starter. And he's been a starter in their system, but now in the bullpen, Miguel Castro, supposed to throw nothing but BBs, mid to upper 90 fastball with a slider. 6'5", 190.
And A.J. Brzezinski will be the first Brave to greet him tonight. And he jumps all over a first pitch fastball and hammers it to deep center. And a fine running catch by Pompey on the warning track.
That pitch was 98 and almost hit out of here on the first pitch. Never took his eyes off of it, feeling for the fence. Not quite Devon White, the '82 World Series, but close.
1 pitch, 1 out for Andrelton Simmons. 2 RBIs, 2 runs, 2 hits. And he swings the first pitch. This one hit toward right. Bautista, a roundabout route, gets there.
Of course, the '92, not '82 World Series. Talking about Devon White.
Jason Grilli will have the meat of the order for the Jays in the 9th. Trying to save it for Cody Martin tonight. Leo Teheran went 5 innings, 5 runs, 4 homers for the first time in his big league career. Drew Hutchinson gave up 5 runs and 4 2/3 for Toronto. In this battle of the bullpens, the Braves bullpen has been better tonight.
Back-to-back 99s from Castro.
And Peterson with a 4-pitch walk. Well, here's the man of the hour for Atlanta. Johnny Gomes in the 8th hit a pinch hit home run to give the Braves a 6-5 lead. Freeman followed with a 2-out, 2-run homer.
Castro, for the moment, is their closer. He has 2 saves. Their only 2 saves so far on the season.
Mentioned earlier tonight when Eric Young drove in the first run of the night with 2 outs, how big those 2-out runs are. 6 of the Braves' 8 RBIs tonight have come with 2 out.
So big.
Big lead by Peterson at first. And Gomes looks away.
It's pretty quick to the plate. Threw a 97-mile-an-hour fastball with a slide step. The first pitch to Johnny. Big lead. He's out of the Dominican Republic.
1-2 to second, and the flip to the second base bag sends our game to the bottom of the 9th inning. Braves hope to fire up the grill in Toronto. Jason Grilli will come on and try to save it. Bautista, Encarnacion, and Navarro coming up for the Jays. 100 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. AT&T Universe Trivia question. Since '87, Jose Bautista's one of 2 Jays to lead the AL in homers for a season. Who's the other?
I think your George Bell pick was a good one. I'll take him.
Oh, George Bell. I forgot about Carlos Delgado.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to say Carlos Delgado, big first baseman here.
Crown dog.
Fred, we're sorry we forgot. So we head to the bottom of the 9th. This is the definition of a tough save. 1-run lead on the road with the 3, 4, and 5 hitters coming up.
4 for 4 in saves. Had a tough time nailing down his last one. Gave up a run, but he had a couple to work with. Was he swinging hard? Yeah.
No balls, 2 strikes. He got it under his hands, and Bautista didn't get 96-mile-an-hour queso for out number 1.
That's the one, the up and in. You mentioned right up under his hands. That one ran in on him too. Virtually impossible to get the barrel to the baseball when it's right in on your letters.
1 away. Here's Encarnacion. 2 for 4 tonight. Braves play him as a dead pull hitter. Jace Peterson almost directly behind the second base bag.
I think Encarnacion got caught with his hand in the cookie jar there. He was looking for something off speed and got a fastball that split the plate.
Little tapper. And now Grilly way ahead. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cool and comfortable in the ballpark, but you can see Grilly's already sweated through his navy blue Braves cap. 1-2 pitch. High fly ball center, no carry to it. Young's got it measured up, and Ewy's got it. 2 out. You can hear Grilly grunting all the way up in the upper deck. Braves are an out away from winning game 1. This has been a tough out for Jason. Navarro tonight 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Ball 1.
We'll have the PNC pitching performance pitch tracks up there for you this entire at bat.
Ball 2. Russell Martin is on deck. Wouldn't that be an interesting matchup? A pair of former Pirates.
Yeah.
With the game on the line, should Navarro reach.
Well, everybody that's gone up there got a good scouting report. You know that.
Bouncing ball right side. Jace is there. The peg to first, and the Braves have beaten Toronto. What a game. The Jays hit homers early. The Braves hit them late. And Atlanta's bullpen better than Toronto's tonight, and that was the difference. Atlanta 8, Toronto 7. That's your final. Great way to start the road trip here at the Rogers Center. Back to recap it from north of the border after this.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by Authority.